Here's a problem with a prediction video for AEW All In 2025. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I'm an idiot, so that's totally fine, but we are going to get into it. It's happening this Saturday. I'm very excited about it because, as stupid as the term is, it is AEW's WrestleMania. They have a big old card. At the moment, there's only 8 matches. And listen, no one else listen to me, but my only slight criticism, usually overall, when it comes to AEW pay-per-views, is they're too long. Now, again, if you spend your hard-earned money and you like it, more is more for you. Totally awesome. Just throwing it out there, which is why I'm excited about the 8-match card, because I think most of the matches on it have some real stunk to them. This is just a word I made up. And we will start with the AEW Tag Team titles, which has gone totally off the rails. I was convinced for weeks it was going to be the Hurt Syndicate taking on Jet Speed, and then, from a few skits on Collision, and Nick Wayne just inserting him into a Kevin Knight versus Shelton Benjamin match, which I don't think AEW ever explained. I've already summed it up there. The Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne are going in. Now, originally, I thought Jet Speed, Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight got whipped over and over and over again because they were going to win. Maybe Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin would step on a banana peel. The Patriarchy did beat Bobby Lashley up with a chair on Dynamite, so that kind of wounds them a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to lose. And my bizarre nature to all of this, just because it is a massive show, and apparently Adam Copeland is ready to come back, and it would be rushed, but you don't know how long these people have left on their clocks, is that maybe this is where Nick Wayne and Christian Cage fall out and Adam Copeland makes the save. Now, that's going to be so difficult to pull off, because last time we saw Adam Copeland, mega babyface, he also needs to do something with FTR, and Christian Cage for a good 3 to 4 years, maybe even 5, has been the most wonderful asshole, not only in AEW, but most of professional wrestling. That is an interesting thing to try and carry on television, but of course, if Adam Copeland is coming back to feud with FTR, he's going to need a partner, so maybe that can be a sub-story, and maybe at first Christian's like, no, and then FTR beat him up, and eventually Christian can't handle it anymore. Christian Cage and FTR were sort of hanging out here as well, because apparently, Stokely Hathaway said, if you help us, we'll help you. So maybe that's probably how Adam Copeland gets back, because maybe FTR's helping Christian Cage. Adam Copeland's just the guy to come out to balance the numbers, and Christian and Adam Copeland still hate each other. I don't know. I was certain that it was going to be Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. And yes, everyone was going to go, it was absolutely ridiculous. But then it doesn't matter how much they did get whooped, because when push came to shove, they became the champions. But it's all credit to Tony Khan. If he wanted to inject Jeopardy into the pay-per-view, you've totally done it, and you've thrown me off course. I just don't know where to go. However, we make bold predictions on this show, and I think, all things considered, given that Bobby Lashley has been totally murked, and Shelton Benjamin too, that Mike Bailey and Nick Wayne Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are going to win, but they'll probably pin the Patriarchy after FTR screw up or something like that, because that's how you create the beef between Christian and FTR, which may lead into this stupid Adam Copeland thing that I've pitched. But as always, bold predictions here only. If you want boring ones, you can go elsewhere. And yes, that will be a bit of an eye roll, because how ridiculous is it to be the champions and lose your belt even though you didn't get pinned? But it's also the beauty of sports entertainment that you are able to get away with it. So I'm going to go with Jet Speed. They will get those titles. Also means that they can feud with FTR, because FTR would have to do Adam Copeland. I guess that would be the 3-way, right? So it'd be Jet Speed, Adam Copeland, Christian eventually, and FTR. That's pretty exciting, and it's something you never would have thought would have happened. I've just sort of condensed 6 months worth of story there into 6 weeks, but maybe Adam Copeland, and I'm totally speculating here, doesn't have that much longer. Maybe Christian wants to wrap it up. Maybe they've had a chat. You'd have to do the Christian Cage versus Nick Wayne matches too. There's a lot there. But Kip Sabian is hanging around playing Nintendo, so you can do Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne versus Edge and Christian. That'd be amazing. As I just go back to his WWE name, I'm going with Jet Speed. The Hurt Syndicate don't get pinned. FTR do screw up, and that creates beef between the Patriarchy. So it's going to be ridiculous, but as I always say, on these big shows, on your grand events, you should have as much fun as possible. That's the whole point, and as we all know, wrestling is about moments. Adam Cole versus Carl Fletcher, to me, feels like a title change. Now, I love Adam Cole, genuinely, I think he's the best dude ever, and I think we all forget he has been through a horrible time. Once again, no speculation, no rumors, just going on facts we do know, had to get over serious concussion injuries, really, really bad it sounds like, then have that horrific ankle injury that took forever to fix, because it was just such a, crazy, whatever you want to call it, just a difficult thing to recover from, and whether it was amicable or not amicable, again, not trying to spread anything here, he broke up with his partner, Britt Baker, and even if those things end good, you still feel sad. If they end bad, you feel even sadder. So it's just lovely to see him in the ring and performing, and I hope eventually we can shine a bigger spotlight on him. Although if you watch Collision, he does get that, but I understand people want to see him on Dynamite, and I would probably be one of those as well. But Carl Fletcher has had such a good 2025, and he is on the precipice of doing bigger things. Sometimes you just have to smell the cheese, right? Which I massively regret saying. It's like when we did Chris Jericho versus John Moxley. What was that, AEW Revolution 2020? No, I'm probably getting that wrong. But Chris Jericho was the first ever AEW World Champion. And he hadn't held the belt for that long, and AEW easily could have stretched that out, but there was just something in the air that night where even I felt it, like, I think John Moxley needs to win. Just because of how he had debuted for AEW and the momentum he was on, it would have sucked if he had lost. AEW pulled the trigger. And I'm not 100% sure in the same place here. You could do a rematch at All Out and Carl Fletcher win there, and I think that would be fine. But if we are trying to sort of coronate new stars, do it on the biggest stage you do have, which is All In front of probably around 25,000 people. I'll talk about that in just 1 second too. I think Carl Fletcher should win. I think they should have a great match. You can protect Adam Cole with Takeshita or the Don Callis family doing something. Because I don't think Takeshita will probably be in the gauntlet. That may have already been announced, but that's okay. That's fine. He's not going to be a massive surprise, and he may even win the ROH title from Bandito the night before. But I think Carl Fletcher has to win the championship. I do. The feud should continue, absolutely. Then what we do with Adam Cole after that, I don't know, but I hope we come up with something good for him because, again, but also Carl Fletcher, both these guys, I love them both. Carl Fletcher has proven time and time again how talented he is. Adam Cole is a modern-day GOAT. You can argue that, but, you know, he opened a lot of doors, and some of the stuff he has done, I think we've forgotten about. But it's just time. It is just time. They'll go out there, they have a great match. They'll probably do that powerbomb spot. Even Carl Fletcher killing Adam Cole, Adam Cole getting revenge. Still one of the most terrifying things we've seen in 2025. But Carl will win, and it will be a brilliant match. I think this will serve both guys. It'll be one of those where you get a winner and you get a loser, but we all walk away going, man, that was just such a good match. Who even cares? And then, yes, maybe do something All Out with a stipulation or something totally crazy. But you can kind of argue this is the present and the future. Carl Fletcher is kind of like an Adam Cole-style wrestler. Arguably, maybe he wouldn't have got to where he would have done without the stuff that Adam Cole had done, which is the worst sentence I've ever said in my life. I'm going with Carl Fletcher. I felt oddly confident about this one, and of course I've said that before on videos and got it totally incorrect, which is always fun. Quick tangent about we'll say 25,000. I think it's around about 23,100 at the moment. It's amazing. AEW are going to gross like $3 million. It's the biggest North American gate, I believe, outside of W or something like that. I mean, it's right up there. I can't remember what WCW did or didn't do. This is something to be celebrated. There's no comparison here about what WCW did or they didn't do. WCW's been dead for 20 years plus, so it's an amazing thing that the second biggest company in America is doing this kind of finances, is bringing this many people in. That helps wrestling, and wrestling is the most important thing. You don't need to point a finger at Eric Bischoff. You don't need to point a finger at Tony Khan. All of it is good. And if WCW was still around today, it would have been a better place as well. But to act like this is some kind of disappointment is totally mad. 25,000 people, and then people go, well, the stadium holds 50,000. I don't care. You still dragged in 25,000 people? Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. You just can't win. People just keep raising the bar, then AEW will meet the bar. People do it in WWE as well. It's just tribalism, but it's nuts. If you get over 10,000 people to your show, you've done amazing, because there was a time, unless you were called WWE, there's no way you could have done that, and there was also a time when WWE couldn't have done it either. Draw a line under it and move on. We shall talk about the women's gauntlet too. I mean, obviously we know Chris Statlander's in it. We know Megan Bayne is in it. Tony Khan kind of insinuated that Athena and Thunder Rose will be in it as well. It's difficult one to call. I'm sure you get a Penelope Ford, you'll get an Anna Jay, you'll get a Blue Sky Blue Sky. You know, all of the usual people should be in it. Who wins this one? I mean, you do become the number one contender, or you get a title shot. So you could, I mean, again, it all depends who wins Mercedes versus Toni Storm, which I'm also struggling with. I think Willow Nightingale will be in this. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know if she's been announced. And I probably think the finish should be something to do with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Because once again, we did this weird thing where they had some beef. They kind of paid it off, but they didn't. And it's still kind of hanging out in the air. I assume that Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm will have another match at All Out. Again, making all this up in my head. So if a Willow and Chris go one-on-one and one of them wins, maybe you can do something there, which is very similar to last year, right? Do you remember when they had that amazing street fight at All Out? And it came after whatever it came after. It was slap bang in the middle of two amazing matches. And everyone was like, oh no, how are they going to do it? And they totally killed it. Maybe it had the best match of the night. It was so awesome. But I think it should come down to these two. Maybe Megan Bayne. I know it doesn't work like that. It's not like a Royal Rumble. And pins can happen any time. But loads of other people have been taken out. I think it's so difficult. Kind of Megan Bayne needs to win. I don't want to give away who I think is going to win between Mercedes and Toni Storm. I'd give it to Willow Nightingale. I just would. I think Willow Nightingale, for the rest of 2025 should take that step up. She should be in the main event scene. She should win that women's championship eventually, maybe early next year at a Full Gear or Revolution, I should say. So I'm going to put it out into the ether. And in terms of surprises, man, I have no clue. I've sat there. I mean, obviously, some people like Tekla will be in it. And again, other people that you're already shouting at the screen now. Yes, they'll be in it. Probably a Deonna Purrazzo will be in it. That'll be nice. And Ty Valkyrie. Get all these guys in it who deserve their moment in the sun. And Billy Starks, maybe she can do something with Athena to carry on their storyline that will go on for the next 7,622 years. And Queen Aminata, we saw her, going on with Tekla, so they can do something too. But I don't know if there's many surprises out there. It's not going to be Saraya. She's definitely done with AEW. Probably going to go back to WWE, I would guess. You could get some Stardom wrestlers in there, but how well the current fan base knows them, I don't know. So that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, I can see a Isla Dawn, who I believe the 90 days is up. I'm saying that I'm not so sure. So she could be in it. So surprise-wise, I'll put her in there. Shayna Baszler was doing some producing work for NXT. I'm not sure if her 90 days is up. Even if you don't sign her, I just put her in that match. She'd get a massive pop, and if anyone deserves it, it's absolutely a Shayna Baszler. And for the same token, I can't remember her real name now, you have to forgive me, but the former Cora Jade. Now, you don't have to sign all these people, but I think you can put them in the match. Not at the expense of people you do have, that's not what I'm saying. But if you need some surprises because you want to pop the crowd, and there will be an expectation here, Isla Dawn, I think, is going to get signed, so you should do that. And maybe a Sonya Deville, but that's just a personal one to me. I would like that a lot. But we'll wait and see. The coolest thing about this match is you can pick anybody. If you told me Tekla, go, yep, I get it. If you told me Queen Aminata, because she kind of feels like she's taken Jamie Hayter's position, I hope she's getting better too, I'd take it. Chris Statlander, always. Willow, we've talked about. And, it is just one shot. So if you did want to have a fun match, you could pick a random person. Random people should always win these kind of matches. It's like, not an issue with the Royal Rumble, because that's my favorite match in the world, but it's usually a megastar, and I still dream. We've talked about this on videos, for one day where a random mid-carder, for lack of a better term, wins it, which I guess with this was with Jey Uso, you could say, and it was wonderful, it was great. So these are still relatively early, the gauntlet matches, but one day, someone random needs to win. We're like, what? I can't believe it. I'm going to go for Willow Nightingale because, again, I'm trying to think throughout the rest of the year. She should be featured more. She should win the World Championship. She should be in top feuds. And the best way to do that is to win a flipping gauntlet. All right, Swerve Strickland and Will Osprey versus the Young Bucks with the best stipulation ever, because it's crazy. Either the Young Bucks lose their jobs, or their professional jobs, whatever you want to call it, their office jobs, as the EVPs of the company, or Will Osprey and Swerve Strickland can't challenge for the titles for a year. Now, when this first announced, if you watch my What Culture videos, please go subscribe to them and watch all those videos, and subscribe to me as well, and go to patreon.com for Simon316, sign up for my watch-alongs. Did Taker versus Taker the other day. It was laugh out loud funny. I didn't realize this. I had forgotten. But I was convinced the Young Bucks were going to lose, get rid of their EVP ship, because no way are we going to not allow Swerve and Will to challenge for that belt for over a year. The more I've thought about it, AEW, as they rightfully should do, love long world title reigns. If Hangman Adam Page is going to win, then that will be a long time. If John Moxley retains, whoever he loses it to is probably not going to be a Swerve, and it's probably not going to be a Will Ospreay at the moment, and arguably it would get to All Out and Hangman Adam Page would win it there. It depends what Tony Khan wants to do at the end of All In. Does he want to surprise us a la WrestleMania 39, or are we going WrestleMania 40 where everybody feels good in their Tootsie Toes? So let's say Hangman does win, and I'm not saying that, but we'll get to it in just 1 second. His first challenger is probably going to be MJF, right? So that's already, 6 months of television, given how patient AEW likes to be with its world titles. Then you're kind of getting into Continental Classic land. Soon after that would be the Owen Hart Cup. So I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that Swerve and Will don't have to fall foul for this, especially because what did we see on Dynamite, right? Swerve Strickland goes nuts and crushes the Young Bucks limo with the digger. And then Will Ospreay, obviously, he'd been beaten up, but he gets saved by his partner. They were so happy, right? And this is when it hit me. They were smiling, and Swerve was hugging Will, and even said something to Hangman. Hangman looked at him like, don't you say positive things to me. I still don't like you. There's two things we could do here. I'll get to it in 1 second. One is so over the top. But I think you can do the Will Ospreay Swerve Strickland feud and really make it mean something with some serious stakes. Because it was Will that said, yeah, we'll do this stip. And Swerve looked at him like, excuse me, Mother Hubbard, I didn't agree to that, but I'll do it for the good of the company. Because it was Will Ospreay that talked him into this. Doesn't mean that Swerve Strickland has to go heel. Go back to all that stuff he did with Bryan Danielson last year. The dude is like a chameleon. He can sort it out. He can make it work. And Will is so raw on his promos, I think he'd be able to lean into it as well. So it's floored me. And then I had this idea, again, just speculating, throwing it out there on the off chance it does happen, then I can feel like I know what I'm talking about. If Will Ospreay and Swerve lose, and Swerve then goes mega mad at Will Ospreay and comes out in the main event to try and help and accidentally screws Hangman Page over as well, there is due course, and there is somewhat of a justification. Not saying that you should do that, but if you are trying to create a forever feud between Swerve Strickland, Hangman and Page, not the worst thing to do. So, after pondering on it, I think the Young Bucks are going to win. And I'm going to regret this because it's only in the last sort of 24 hours I have switched my mind. And I would never do that on a game show, for example. If there are 3 doors and I picked door B and they gave me some information, I would still pick door B. Never change when there's something on the line. But I can't lose anything here. My hair's already gone. I would look like a buffoon, so we don't need to worry about that. I think Swerve Strickland and Will Osprey are going to finish off 2025, the last 6 months or whatever, feuding with each other. And it's all going to be based on this premise that Will Osprey opened his big stupid mouth and now Swerve can't challenge the belt for a year. Then I think Will Osprey will win the Owen Hart Cup. That means he can challenge and win it at All In next year, which will be Wembley. And his first big feud will be Swerve Strickland. And we go back to all of that after they've been separated. And it's pretty good stuff. And it's pretty good long-term planning. I don't have any confidence in this whatsoever. But you need some shocks on this card. And them losing to me would be a massive shock. So yeah, I'm going to go with it. Especially if we are getting a Hangman Page happy ending. You need some sadness, like William Shakespeare book. You need some tragedy in there. Or plays, I should say. He didn't write books, he wrote plays. Please don't yell at me, England scholars. You can see me pausing over this and kind of staring off into the distance, making sure I do min it. I do min it. The Young Bucks are going to win. They'll cheat. They'll do something horrible. The only issue is they stay EVP people. Not sure how that benefits anything at the moment. You know what? They probably are going to lose, but I've said it now. And really, from a storyline perspective, Will and Swerve losing probably is more interesting. Do you think maybe it's a bad idea? Because if Hangman and Page does win the belt, you can do the feud with Osprey. You can definitely do the feud with Swerve. You don't have to do babyface heels here because they have kind of been part of this triangle of love. I don't know, man. We'll go with the Young Bucks, right? This one I want in the comments below because you're probably thinking I'm nuts, right? I think I agree with you. But again, use that word. On the off chance I am right, I'm going with the Bucks. They're going to win. And Swerve and Will Osprey are going to be screwed for a year. And if Tony Khan does do that, more power to that guy. That is a ballsy, brave move. Whether it's right or wrong, we have to watch the TV. But I would always respect a wrestling company for trying something different. We get so much content on television. Why the flub not? Even if it sucks, who cares? We'll get to All In 2026 eventually. That Will Osprey is definitely winning the belt there, right? There's no two ways about it. Who he wins it off, well, that's probably going to be MJF. And speaking of MJF, we do have the Casino Gauntlet for the men. He's going to be in it. Mark Briscoe's going to be in it. Excalibur's going to be in it. Brody King's going to... No, Excalibur. What's his... That's the wrong person. Mystico. Where did that come? Brody King's going to be in it. We mentioned Takeshita, maybe. I can't remember. A lot of the obvious people will be in it. Surprises, my gosh, once again, who knows? There's just not that many people out there. Maybe one and done's like we did with Nigel McGuinness last year, but he was already signed to the company. I would put someone like Baron Corbin in. Again, doesn't have to sign with the company, but Tom Pestock, or what's he going by now? Bishop Dyer, excuse me. He gets such a good reaction, and I just love that guy, and I think he deserves an opportunity. And again, doesn't have to come in all the time. It could be a Matt Cardona thing. Matt Cardona is another guy I'd probably put in there. I mean, it all depends on what you want to do and what his future is, but I don't mind these one-off people that don't actually tie into the story. That's what these matches are there for. Some things should be, to use wrestling terminology, cheap pops. WWE did it with the Royal Rumble for years. And people loved it because, of course, they did. It's that reaction. And I think one of my highlights from last year was when Nigel McGuinness came out and Ricochet. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. But it's a difficult one. I think probably I should have pondered on this more before I sat down to do predictions. But I was thinking more about winners than I was about surprises in these matches. Somebody must have been released recently that could be in this. Like a Braun Strowman, but he wants to go back to WWE and they've been quite kind to him. You don't want to rock the boat. As we know, WWE may run another 8 shows and make crazy weekends. We'll get back to that. I think we've thrown a few people out there, which is totally fine. I mean, is there anyone from New Japan that could be in it? I mean, an Ishii being in it would be cool, or a Tanahashi. Tanahashi could be in it, right, because he's retiring. But that doesn't feel... It's a nice surprise, but it's not like Seismics. We've seen him in AEW before. And it probably ties into something we can do with Forbidden Door. Don't forget, that is the month after this show, too. You'll probably get some New Japan guys in it, maybe Zack Sabre Jr., maybe some Red Pro guys, too. That could absolutely happen. Anyway, it's so different. I think MJF is going to win. And I think MJF is going to win because he needs to have that cash-in, money in the bank, whatever you want to call it, shot thingamajig. Still not 100% sure how that works. Because if Hangman does win, I think him versus MJF has to be the ultimate feud for the end of 2025. And I think MJF should probably be the guy to beat him as well within the next 6 months, or if not longer. Hangman should hold that belt for a while. You don't want to take it over too quick, should he win it. And... the issue here is how do we get around the Mystico, Mark Briscoe angle? Just because Mystico can eliminate MJF, and that sets up their Mexico match they are going to have. Tony Khan basically confirmed that. Also, he gets his revenge after MJF did screw him on that Dynamite. Mark Briscoe absolutely needs to do something here after the terrible, terrible things MJF said on Dynamite. So I'm in the middle of all of this. But if MJF is going to go after that world championship, then at the same time, though, he needs to get out of the Hurt Syndicate. Or maybe he wins the belt with the Hurt Syndicate. Maybe we're going long term with this, which I'd also appreciate, because so many people thought it'd be like a one and done. And in a couple of weeks, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, MVP, would beat him up. I just think on this, once again, I'm going to go back to the stage idea. You want your top stars to win to set up things for the future. And Mystico is a CMLL guy. I will have Mark Briscoe winning any day of the week. But again, if Hangman Adam Page wins it, when are you ever going to do that match? Although AEW, I should say, doesn't really care about babyfaces when it is on a random pay-per-view. And MJF was so awful. Man, maybe it should be Mark Briscoe. I'm still going to go MJF. My heart wants Mark Briscoe just because it would be wonderful and I love that guy. But my head says he's such a big star and he's just going to get bigger and bigger and he's doing great work at the moment. Going with Maxwell Jacob Friedman. These gauntlets, man, you've got to give it up for Tony Khan again. I am no idea. I wouldn't bet my life on it at all. I would never do that about wrestling because it would be nuts. But I go with MJF. I go with the boring choice here. And just because, I talked about it on ups and downs, I'll talk about it here as well. This is the cool thing. When you do content for a long time, you are able to fall into patterns so people know you're not making it up. The Jay Briscoe stuff on Dynamite, as long as Mark Briscoe and the Briscoe family are fine with it, that's their choice. That's how they've decided to keep the memory alive. They knew Jay Briscoe better than I, and I would never use that to go and yell on the internet, even if I did disagree with it, because that's insane. You don't get to do that to someone who's suffered a terrible loss, in my opinion. That could be totally incorrect. You're allowed not to like it, and you're allowed to go on the internet and say, I don't like it, this is not to my taste. That's perfectly fine. But to say that Mark Briscoe or MJF were wrong to do this, that's totally on the Briscoe family and Jay Briscoe's children, who absolutely would have been consulted about it. It's a wibbly-wobbly line. I don't want to go into it too much, but I did want to say that I think it's important. But I'll go MJF. I think it has to be Mark Briscoe, given that segment. But I've said it now, and by my own stupid rules, there's no going back. Carter versus Kenny Omega, match number 5, I believe, to unify the Continental International titles. These videos that we've been doing on Dynamite, man, and probably on Collision 2, I think they aired on there. Just wonderful. So damn good. Not only tied it into the history of the thing, but kind of brought you up to speed with what they're doing in AEW. You got the Don Callis sort of twist in there, maybe something with the Young Bucks if they want to get involved. That would probably be the main event. It's just been so well done. And I saw the criticism by some who said, oh, it should just be focused on what they did do in the past. And I do see what you mean. But if we have a lot of fans that have never watched that, you may as well give them something current, because why not? Like, where's the harm in it? I don't think it's like Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon, when everybody knew about the screw job. Like, everybody knew about it, and they talked about it as well. That was like a life or a game-changing event. Kenny Omega versus Okada was, but in a very different way. It's a lot different to say this man broke the rules of wrestling and changed the course, as opposed to these two guys probably had 4 of the best matches of all time. They're 2 very different things. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the sort of handshaking that we've done here, the crossing of the streams. I think Kenny Omega has to win. Okada has been so dastardly. You can also put an end to everything between Kenny Omega and Don Callis. Just let them go out there and cook, to use 2025 speak. Let me sit back and enjoy it. I don't mind some shenanigans because, of course, Kenny Omega is coming back from a serious injury. Let's not forget that. And people say Okada's not the guy he once was. I just think he picks and chooses his moments, and he's earned that right. Same with Roman Reigns' contract, to throw in a weird one. He can do whatever the flub he wants. But Kenny Omega should win. Absolutely. And Ibushi should get involved too. Of course, Golden Lovers reunite. But he should be the first ever unified champion, and then he can just feud. And there was at one point, Tony Khan said he wanted the belt to almost feel like a world championship belt. And Kenny Omega is a guy that can do that. And ultimately, the fact that we get this once more on American soil, in a big old stadium, arena, whatever we're calling it, baseball field, with 25,000 people there. I always say this. If you had told anyone that in 2019, they would have slapped you because they just thought you would have so nuts. There's no way. Especially if you added the caveat and it won't be in WWE. They'd be like, well, how? How is this going to happen? I'm very excited. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. It could steal the show, which is saying something, because there's some tremendous matches on here. And we may get a couple more added as well as we get closer to the weekend, but I think 8 is enough to predict. Going with Kenny Omega, I feel pretty good about this. I just don't think you can have a man, one, come back from real-life diverticulitis and lose, but also the Don Callis family did bludgeon him and make him bleed his own blood from his real mouth. Sometimes the babyface just needs to win. All I care about this is the quality that they're going to bring me. I don't expect it to be as good as the ones before, and I say that from a positive point of view. It's, 7 years removed. They've both been through a lot. I think you have to be fair to these people as human beings. But the aura, the quality, the fact they're going to be looking at each other across the ring, it's wonderful, it's great, I'm excited, I feel like a nerd, I'm going with Kenny. And once again, bravo to AEW and Tony Khan, Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm. Do not forget, it's only 4, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying this, the AEW Women's Championship, the TBS title is not on the line. Man, I mean, if Mercedes Moné wins and Willow Nightingale wins the gauntlet, there you go. We're into it. Whereas if Toni Storm wins and becomes the first person to beat Mercedes, then all of a sudden you have created this even bigger character in Toni. But that would also help Mercedes as well. If she's walking around with her 7th belt, listen, the undefeated thing is winding a lot of people up, and she is meant to be a heel. I really think it depends on what we're doing in the Hangman match. If Hangman wins, I'd have Toni lose, and if Toni wins, I'd never have Hangman lose. But I'm saying that, why can't you have all your baby faces win? Back in the day, that was the idea of WrestleMania. You culminate all the feuds, and it's babyface wins, and you feel good, you want to spend your money, and probably buy some popcorn. You're not going to not do another match between Toni Storm and Mercedes. Or maybe you are. I wouldn't. I would absolutely do another match at All Out. So maybe Toni Storm wins here, and then Mercedes is like, right, it's all on the line. I'm putting all my belts on the line, every single one of them. If I can't beat you, you can take them all. And then she cheats and probably does something terrible. And maybe even starts that faction that's been rumored about for a while. And that's how she beats Toni Storm. And then you get 2 matches out of it. It's 1-on-1. You also get a rubber match out of it. Whereas at the same time, Toni Storm can win. Sorry, Mercedes can win, and Toni Storm can still challenge her because she's so over. No one's going to care about that. It's a really difficult one. Though the crazies on the internet disagree. If Mercedes won, I would totally get it. If Toni Storm won, I'd totally get it. It's just such a wonderful match. And this is why it's great that Mercedes hasn't lost. That's where the jeopardy has come from. It comes from the fact that Timeless Toni Storm is probably the most popular character in the whole promotion. And all the work she's done up to this point has been great. And Mercedes Moné has this sort of, special shield around her where people are like, she's not going to lose, she's not going to lose. That has made this story so good. Enjoyed their interaction on Dynamite. Some of the lines that Toni Storm had were excellent. I'm going to go with Toni Storm, which again, I've changed my mind again, which is a terrible idea. But Toni Storm wins. Mercedes Moné does the ultimate challenge for All Out. And then, she does something dastardly. The point is, Mercedes Moné come August 2025, will be the super duper whooper champion. And then she can probably carry on that through. But then what do you do with Toni Storm after all of that? Because you need the rubber match. Oh, man, it's so difficult. It's excellent. This is great, great stuff. If you're burning to a pay-per-view and you've got a nerd like me that watches everything, once again, just staring at his feet, not knowing what you're going to do, you've created that awesome atmosphere. So when this match starts, I bet the crowd go crazy. It absolutely could have main evented if Jon Moxley versus Hangman didn't. But it's a Texas Death Match. I absolutely have that match last. Nobody should need to follow it. I'll go with Toni Storm. And then we do the rematch at All Out. And Mercedes Moné wins that too. Because again, All Out's not that far away, so you want to make sure you have some amazing matches in the tank. And if that's a stipulation match, which it could be, it absolutely could main event the thing. And then we brought balance to the Force. And Star Wars taught us that was a good thing to do. I'm going with Toni Storm. Once again, I don't have any confidence at all. And we end with the mentioned Texas Death Match. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. I'm so damn excited. I'm not excited for the levels they're going to go to, because we all remember what they did first time a couple of years ago, and what Swerve and Hangman have introduced to this. They're going to have to go to those dark parts, essentially, at some point. Otherwise, there will be some people like, what are we doing? Because that's the law of diminishing returns in reverse. It's going to be like the second part to the WrestleMania 40 main event, and damn right, the Young Bucks are going to be there, and Swerve's going to be there, and Will's going to be there, the Death Riders are going to be there. That's probably why it's no DQ. Why try and blind the referee when everybody is going to run down? Just realized I haven't done the trios match. Why is the trios match not on my list? Let me go through this. No, it hasn't been updated on the damn form. All right, quite quick. We'll just do that quickly. Samoa Joe's Operations taking on the Death Riders, which is now Claudio Wheeler, and who's the last guy, Gabe Kidd. I think the Death Riders will probably keep it because, look, I just spoil it now. I think Jon Moxley's going to lose the title. So you need to keep some belts in the Death Riders, right? So excuse me on that one. We're going to do that. And it's probably why Samoa Joe beat Wheeler Yuta, right? I think that is a wrestling trope we're doing, which is the opposite for the main event, because Hangman Adam Page was all over. He was standing well tall after they tried to murder him on Dynamite with bags. I just think it's... At WrestleMania 39, when Cody didn't win, it was really, really difficult, right? A lot of people were mad. I saw it. I saw a guy throw a cheeseburger on the floor. It's the funniest thing I ever saw in my life, because those cheeseburgers were worth like $30. But this is a different situation. And I just think what people want, it's like Revolution when Sting retired. All people wanted was Sting standing there with some belts and some confetti. We got it. And it's one of the best pay-per-views ever for that moment. It made you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. And I think if Hangman loses, even if we did the similar kind of thing and then he re-challenges it All Out and wins, I just think you'd pop the bubble. This really goes back to our conversation we talked before when Jon Moxley won the title. Everything is just screaming, it's time for Hangman, it's time for Hangman, it's time for Hangman. This is his signature match. Jon Moxley will be protected, because everyone is going to run in. There's going to be shenanigans all over the place. The Young Bucks will probably make a mistake to sort of make more interest there. Swerve Strickland could do something to sort of open a door. But I just can't imagine a world, especially the Adam Cole versus MJF match from the first year. MJF wins, wonderful moment. Last year, the Bryan Danielson thing, oh my gosh, my heart. There's something to all this, and it's only the third All In. I don't think we have to have the big bad heel win, especially because there's still a contingent of people that do not like the Death Riders. I actually think they've found their feet these last couple of months because they had a protagonist and an antagonist to work with. But I just think it would leave a sour taste in people's mouths. And don't do that just for the sake of doing it. Like, there's no point. Just give the people what they want is the simplest thing in wrestling. And it was one of the issues that WWE had for a good 10-year period. They would do the opposite to try and get a reaction, and eventually fans didn't like it. So it'll be completely crazy, be violent, it'll be bloody. I think it's going to probably push the boundaries of taste, but again, that's going to be totally personal to you. Everyone's going to run in. It's going to be the most funny 10 minutes back end to a match we've probably seen since WrestleMania 40, but that's one of my favorite things we've ever done. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be awesome, and yeah, I think we'll open that briefcase, the title will be in there, or maybe not as a surprise, because John Moxley sold it to the Young Bucks or something ridiculous. Hangman and Page stands there with the belt, all of his boys behind him, probably some eyeballing him like Randy Orton has done to Cody Rhodes for a while. And then once again, you get the fireworks, 25,000 people in Texas feel great. However many people, 150, 250,000 people or 200,000 people watching at home, they feel great too. And then you go to bed and watch 72 other wrestling shows. But that's way better than ending on a downer. Let's say you do back-to-back this, you go straight into Saturday night's main event. Brains are funny. If all of a sudden you get like an upper on WWE and a downer on AEW, just a bad idea. Now, Tony Khan should not book that way. Tony Khan should book for his stories and what he thinks is right and wrong. But from a fan's point of view, I just want to see Hangman win. I love that character. I love that gimmick. I do think he's peaked again, so you want to jump on the peak. I don't mind if John Moxley wins. Could be hilarious, and I want to make sure I'm online when that happens. And, you know, it's good for talking points. But when you sort of get to the nitty-gritty of what wrestling is meant to be, biggest show of the year, you've got to give it to the Cowboy. And I think it's going to be pretty damn wonderful. Now listen, they are my predictions. They will all be wrong. You have to let me know what you think down there. I look at these two, and if you get it right, you get a message from me. How bad is that? It's pretty scary. I'm not going to lie to you, but I try and be nice. So let me know what you think down there. Like the video, share it, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen to get my thoughts about the Gunther versus Goldberg stuff that is coming about the same day, which is totally crazy. Then, of course, subscribe, hit the notification bell, sign up to What Culture as well. Otherwise, isgrillermind.com/Simon. You can start getting 10% off patreon.com/Simon to come join my watch-alongs, only $5. Simon316, if you want to say I'm an idiot on social media. Simon Miller on Big Cartel. No, Simon Miller on, what's it called? Cameos, personalized videos, birthdays, all that kind of stuff. I did a new baby the other day, which is brand new, which was fun. Simon J. Miller on TikTok for really dumb videos, and then Big Cartel and Pro Wrestling Tees for bald t-shirts, mostly, but I am bald, and they are for everyone. Enjoy the weekend. Whatever you're going to watch is awesome. If you're going to ignore AEW and watch WWE, vice versa, it's your entertainment hours, and I appreciate you. I will cover this for both here and What Culture the best that I can, but please bear with me, and I'll see you then.